and welcome to another video with Traveling Vegan and Frodo. So today I will show you all the gear that I personally use for my 70.3, the little tips and tricks that I have picked up, I found helpful and useful for me, and I hope you get the value out of it. Now 70.3 is an incredibly exciting and amazing thing to do. I applaud you for getting a monster, to getting on top of it, and I hope this video will be helpful in getting you started to get ready for the race. So my loves, here I have all the goodies. Still have a bike box over there and bikes from all the different sides. My other one is on the left here. But basically this is a video to tell you and show you all of my current gear that I use for the triathlon 70.3. Firstly, you have three distances, right? You have three disciplines. You have a swim, you have a cycle, and you have a run. Swimming goggles that I used were these ones in the race. As you can see, you're able to see through them, but they're shaded. I don't know, you can sort of see a little bit, but there is a bit of a tint to them. They are this brand, Engine Weapon. They're only like $35 and they're on sale, so they're $28 or something, not very expensive. The swimming cap comes with your package with your number and stuff, so it'll have 70.3 IRONMAN written on it, and when you set off for swimming, you'll have different color caps, and that's how they tell you apart in terms of your age group, but it's also usually very bright and colorful, so they see you in the water for safety. But if something was to happen, it's nice to have backup. It's good to have backup. This is my original cap that I used in the pool, and my goggles. Again, you can see that they're tinted but not completely black for swimming outside. And these ones are the speedo ones. Again, they were not excessively, I think goggles are the least expensive thing that you will have out of this entire, one of the least expensive things you'll have. So these were about $20 as well. Have the backup, wear them, these strap things, underneath your cap, underneath when you put it on. So put them on first on your race day and put cap on top. That is to make sure that in case, there's a lot of people, a lot of kicking, and sometimes people swim over each other as well. That can happen. So these don't get knocked off whilst you're doing your 2K swim. So keep them put these straps under your hat, and even if they get displaced, you can then correct them and put them together. You won't have to try and find them. Orca Sonata. This was my wetsuit. It is full. So my legs and my legs and my arms were fully covered, and you had to do that for the Ironman distance because of the water temperature when I did it in Taupo. As you can see, it's pretty, I would say it's fragile. It's about 5 mil thick in different places, so 5 is the maximum. So make sure your wetsuit is Ironman certified. There's a few of them that are not. At the back, it has this tag that you just pull down. Make sure that your neck is not fully covered, because Ironman also has rules about that. So not fully open cut, but some coverage. And at the back as well, it's a good snug fit at the back, so you don't get water stuck and basically creating extra resistance and getting at the back here, stopping you going faster. Make sure you can reach properly inside of your swimsuit, and they come with gloves that you can use for putting it on. Gloves and a little bag. So you'll need a little bag to get your hands and feet in easy, and rather getting them easy out, because you don't want to rip this fabric. Very good. For that as well, you can use what I have here, Veslin. This is just, you can use whatever brand you have, wherever you live. This is also very, very good when you come out of the swim, when you're doing your brick sessions and your training. You sort of will learn where your suit, your where your body, your helmet maybe is rubbing you, or your tri-suit that I'll talk about in a minute is rubbing you. That's the places where you want to put Vaseline on in your transition. And similarly, you can put it around on your wrists, just, around wrists and on your ankles to make it easier for you to get it off. Also have some sort of thongs, jandals, little shoes to get you to the start. That is if you have somebody there doing, like helping you, someone supporting you, a supporter or someone who you can give the shoes to at the end. Otherwise, you're running to the water, depending on where it is and how far it is from transition. In Taupo, it was about 615 meters away, so it was a bit of a walk down the hill with lots of like little rocks and stones and things on the road. So I had little jandals, little thongs to wear with me to the water, and then I gave them to my mum. So that's the first section. You've done your swim. That's pretty much what you need for it. Next one is the cycling one. So firstly, you have your clip-on shoes. Mine are the Specialized mountain bike cycling shoes. I also have a special insole for support. It's double. I've been using this one for a while. I've had it for a couple of years. As you can see, the dorsal button. Side button. But anyway, try it. Try using your cycling shoes, different like clip-ins and different insole if you wanted to use shoes you like, really, that work for you. Then how should we do this? Let's talk about the tri-suit and then all these little bits and bobs. Right. So tri-suit is something that is different to your regular kit that you ride in. This one here is a single piece, as you can see. But you can also get doubles. You can get pants and little top separately. The thing I like about this one is that it has this little jersey mini jacket thing. So you can it makes it easier when you're trying to get it off and go to the bathroom. It makes it easier to take off from the top. Again, also take a note of whether it's full sleeves or like not full sleeves, but a bit of a cover like over shoulders, or some of them come open. I am here in Australia and I know that I'll be doing some races in Australia later. So I need that sun protection probably more than maybe some other countries. Again, this has this little padding for cycling, as you can see, but it's also not as giant, insane as your normal padding for cycling. Your little Nicks would have, or your bib shorts would have. So you can, I guess you can't really see it, but it's only like a few mil, maybe three or 4 mil. So it helps you cycle and make sure that you do have some layering, but it still makes it easier for running. So you don't feel like you're running with a full nappy and it's not doing any extra rubbing. Again, try your tri-suit out before the race day, because you want to know if it rubs somewhere. And these things are not perfect, even though they're expensive, and they can be a little bit more durable than they actually are, what I feel. But anyway, you want to make sure, like if a little seam rubs you, you want to put Vaseline on it and know about it when you're racing and when you're training, not when you're racing. So I had a single piece from Scotty. It's a brand here in Australia, and I know they are international. There's a whole lot of different tri-suits out there. Again, I prefer the single piece simply because it's easier, I think, without worrying about little shorts coming down. I liked it. It worked well for me. In the theme of cycling, so you see I have my Specialized shoes with Velcros here. You have your regular helmet that you have. Some races might ask you to get that checked over to make sure it's applicable with local road rules. So the next thing I want to mention are the little gloves. So these are my cycling gloves. Again, they're Specialized. They're just a simple, very, very thin, no extra padding on your hand. Very thin. But I find them very helpful when your hands are very wet and you're trying to get going, and it improves your grip. It depends what you're used to on your training rides, but try them out and have them. These ones specifically were just a little bit pricier than I think they should be. They're about $60. but they're good. They work well for me. Have a pair of little cycling gloves with you there. You will probably be flying with your bike somewhere. Of course, to add to this all, you will have some sort of bike. Easiest and fastest way to fill up your tires in case you get a flat, obviously know how to fix a flat. But instead of using a hand pump, I have recently changed onto the CO2 little canisters, and you can't fly with them. So whichever country or city you go to with your bike to get ready for a triathlon, make sure that you buy a few of these, 2 or 3, to be race ready, and obviously know how to use them, try them out. Lucky for me, I got a flat just a few weeks before my race, and that was my first time learning how to use these things, but it worked well, and my tire just was pumped up really, really well. In the same line with Vaseline is little lip balm. It might be, depending on how windy it is, wherever you're cycling, how cold it is, it might be helpful. Like when you can just use your simple Vaseline on your lips as well. I'll just have it here for a reminder. Now, sunnies, you will be out cycling for maybe 3 hours, depending on how fast you are, and then you will be running outside, probably very likely closer to middle of the day as well, depending on how long your run is. So bring a pair of sunglasses. It would be would make it pleasant depending on the day. If it's cloudy, you might not need them, but it's nice to have them if it is a sunny day. And mine are Oakley's, and they travel in this little suitcase, little hard case for them. Here I have just a little muscle rub as well, just to have it with me to help me with my recovery. So in terms of your timing, as you know, you will not be allowed to have your Strava, to have your phone, your headphones. That is not allowed. The little Fitbits, here I have one that is Fitbit Versa. It does not connect to GPS without having a phone connected to, so I opted out to getting a Garmin. This is my Garmin specifically for, well, it's a Forerunner 735XT, as you can see, and I'll do a separate review on that and just comparison with the Fitbit Versa, which can still be used. The Fitbit Versa can be used in the water, in the running and cycling, but this has GPS in it, so it will track your effort and your time without needing you to be connected to the phone all the time. So I absolutely loved it. It has a little triathlon. See, it has a little triathlon setup in there, and it will guide you through it, through the activity, whatever it is. So it'll have transition. See, it'll have also transition sections. So there's like 5 slots, and you can add extra stuff to it as well. We can go through it separately. Probably we should. But it starts with water, and then it goes into transition. Then you press it, like change again, and then it goes into cycling, and it tracks into cycling. And depending on how you set up your display here, you can see your heart rate, you can see your speed. Case you have gone through, very, very helpful, and it also gives you that peace of mind of knowing how fast you're going and how long you have left to do a certain segment. Gives you a peace of mind, really. I worked out what is the minimum speed I need to have to make it through the leg, like cycling leg or running leg, and then I sort of estimated the minimum speed that I would need and sort of speed that I want to have, the average aim speed. And basically I just always kept on checking in with the Garmin through the ride, through the race, making sure that that's all good. And again, it will have, after you finish your ride, it will have a little transition section again, so you press that and then you go into your run, and it will match your run perfectly. So we talked about all of these, and now we're going to running. So here I have my Nikes. They're very, very worn out, as you can see. I absolutely love these shoes. I have run so many races in these this year. I have recently purchased Brooks. The Hokas that I tried were not as well, like I sort of given Hokas a break at the moment. I've been loving these Nikes, so they're a bit flatter, but obviously need changing. Do not try out new shoes on the race day or a week prior to race day. Make sure your legs are very familiar to what you have been training in. But that's what I had. I had my running shoes, and I had obviously the socks that you'd wear for the cycling, in the cycling shoes, and in your running shoes you have a little socks. I like the ankle socks. I don't like really high socks, even though sometimes I wear them for cycling. I want to say ethics obligations, not really ethics, but ethics probably not the right word, but yeah, some people like the look of really long high ankle socks, and I get talked into wearing them, basically by people I ride with, but my personal preference is this shorter ankle socks. Again, on the run, you will be wearing your number. For the ride, your number will be on your bike, your number will be on your helmet, on your hand again. On the run, it will still be on your hand, but you will also need some sort of little belt thing. And you can have a belt, just a little belt like that, with little clip things, or you can have safety pins, as you can see here, to basically attach your number when you are running. So for when they're taking photos and things like that, photographers taking photos, they'll be able to locate you easily when you're looking for footage afterwards. I also have this little running belt. Now this has been fantastic, and I mean, if you wanted to, you can just opt out to one of them. And then in my transition, I actually had this little pouch. It's just a tiny little pouch, but it clips on your sort of around your belly, around your waist, and you run with it. And it can fit a couple of little nutritional snacks. It makes it easy, makes it good. I love using this little thing. I've been using it on a few races now to just carry a few of my little knickknacks on the run. Love it. Advise it. I'm advising for it. This is the Spy Belts. That's the brand that we have here. They also come in different colors. They can be bigger or they can be smaller too, but check it out. And in case you don't have one of these, this will suffice for a little belt to attach your number to. If you don't want to, obviously you're probably going to be in such a state that you're not going to want to fiddle with safety pins and trying to attach it to your shirt, trying to attach your number to the shirt in your try. So just have them on one of these little clip-ons, chuck it on, easy, off you go. Sunscreen, be sun smart, depending on where you're at. It could be very, very hot. You'll be out running around all day. Have a sunscreen in your transition. Chuck some on your face and hand. Other areas you'll have exposed to the sun, shoulders if it's an open tri-suit, to make sure that you won't have sunburns. Just to mention, if you do have contact lenses or glasses, have it spare. I actually run with like one or two of these little things in my little pouch. I also have like a spare on the bike. It's terrible to have something happen to one of them on during your race and then struggling with only one eye. And of course have your spare glasses or something, spare pair of glasses there if you need it on the race day. Now, off to nutrition. So you can go for the little nut bars, you can have for gels, go for gels, you can go for chewy blocks. I've used all three very many times during my training. During the race, I used quite a few of these. I maybe went through 4 or 5 of these packets and a couple of these. Some dependent on where you're at with if you and how you react to caffeine. Some of them are caffeinated, some are caffeine free. Some have extra salt, so I'm not really a fan of too much salt, to be honest. So mine are just the standard amount of salt that they come with. I can show you here. It is per 730. So one of these packs would have maybe 100. I'm just trying to focus on it. So it's 167 for 100, and this is 60 grams. So it'll have maybe 80 grams of salt in it. Salt is important to replenish, but I just prefer these blocks to be very carby. And obviously these top 2 are caffeinated. I have no issues with that personally. They work. They work. I use them. In terms of electrolytes, I think electrolytes are actually fantastic. I never used to be a really big electrolytes person, but in the later experiences, I have learned the benefits of having them. Find the formula you like. There are some providers out there who actually design an electrolyte formula specifically for your needs. I know we have a company in the Sunshine Coast that I want to check out, but at the moment I'm just using this store-bought brand, Hydrolyte Sport. It has sodium, it has vitamin C, it has, like, as you can see, a whole bunch of other things which are very important to have on your race day. Now, what I did was, obviously I don't want to take like this whole big clunky thing with me that weighs 1 kilo. I have a little jar, like a little tub thing, and I just fill it up with this formula and put it in water, just a bottle of water. And I have it in my transition. I have it with me on the bike, and I just go through it and mix it up with water, like change it up, have a sip of it, or however much I can handle at the time, have more water on top, so have a clear mouth and stuff. Other things that I have tried and I did like, this zero sugar. I know it's not really like when you're exercising a lot, having sufficient amount of sugar is important, especially in a race like that, which is why we're eating all these things, right? But just to give you an idea, this is something that I bought, and does taste good. Turmeric and ginger one, pretty good. Little electrolyte formula, again has a bunch of like vitamins and salts, not as much though as this guy, obviously. As you can see, there's tons and tons and tons more. My nutritionist, in fact, recommended this one for me. It's very good. And also there is this pure one that was sponsoring the ride. It's pretty good. Has some fruits in it too, dried, and has a bunch of different things, different ingredients in it. I have my bike pump here because when you're flying, you might need to deflate your tires. It's nice to have your bike pump there with you on the race day in case you need to pump it up. And I actually saw some people deflating their tires a day before race day when they were raking them up and then pumping them in the morning on the race day before it started. That is to deal with the drop in air temperature and spiking increase. They were coming from Australia, so that is a trick I'm going to use in Australia to make sure my tires are all ready to go for me in the morning and during the day. But it's good to have your foot bike pump. I remember in the very beginning I was a bit skeptical of these things just because I thought, why is it so pricey? It's definitely worth it, and it has a little dial here to know how much pressure is in there. Now, and here I also have like a little tip for you. You want to get enough sleep before your race day. Obviously it's questionable because it will be very, very, you'll be probably anxious, nervous. It's very normal. I only got like 4 hours of sleep the night before, but to make it easier for you, depending on where you'll be sleeping, have a little eye mask, have earplugs. These are pretty cheap now. Barely cost $1, maybe 50 cents. This is what I used on my race day to finish my 70.3. By the way, I had 3 water bottles with me, and obviously during the race they have tables where they give you more water, and they might have water however they decide to decanter it. In Taupo, for example, it came in these cool little bottles, but I had 3 with me. I had one in transition, just sitting waiting for me, and I made sure I drank it after the swim. Straight after the swim, I drank a bottle of water, had one of these 2 things, and I was ready to go on my bike. And then while I was on the bike, I was drinking the bottle with this electrolyte in it and another bottle of water, and then I grabbed another bottle number 4, you can say, during the race to drink through the riding. And then you just refuel yourself as you need on your run. I found the experience very, very good in Taupo with the refueling stations with food, with bananas, little pretzels, and little gels and bars and all kinds of little drinks and electrolytes and things. So there you have it, my darlings. I know it's a pretty long video, but I wanted to include all these different things that I have learned and acquired during the race. I'll probably do another Q&A and little tips video later on after I've done just you know, I've kind of had a little bit more time to digest it. I will be starting to train for my second 70.3 just in a couple of weeks. I'm gonna have another couple of weeks of just purely doing exercises that I want, which is predominantly cycling, but I'll make sure that I'll have my swimming in there and running as well. And the more I learn, the more I want to share with you about this. Come with me on this journey and let me know the little tricks and tips that you have from your 70.3s that you have done. And if you have just recently finished your first one, congratulations, well done. If you are just signed up for the first one, congratulations, well done. You are gonna smash it. Just keep at it with your training. Watch tons and tons of little videos of people who have experienced it, who have done it. Try to absorb it as much as you can. Trust that as long as you're doing your best, this is where you're at, and just enjoy it. Have a good time. Definitely have a good time. Make sure you're hydrating yourself. Nutrition's on point, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching another video. Bye.